Why do you say your season doesn't end until the NBA draft?
Because it doesn't. You can't tell me how successful my year has been until the draft's over. What if we won a national championship and not one player drafted? Let's talk about who benefited by that. Did I benefit?
I mean, are the players staying back in school?
Did the school benefit by it?
Sure.
Did the enrollment, did the applications, did fundraising, did the state? So you're telling me, well, they're benefiting by getting educated. Really? They want to give me a bonus of $5 million. And that guy comes back to school, and if I buy him a hamburger, we're both going to jail. Think about what I'm saying. I think that we're all in this to do right by you, and you will do right by all of us.
To what extent do you think your desire to have NBA-ready freshmen enter the league, to what extent do you think that ever conflicts with the academic goals of the university?
Well, we've had 5 years of a 3.0 grade point average. We're in the top 10 of APR and got an award through the NCAA for how our kids have done academically. We've had 14 kids graduate in 6 years. Pretty big number. We've had 3 players graduate, you ready? In 3 years. 2 of those will be NBA. One's in the NBA, another will be in the NBA. It's not been at the extent of academics. Here's what I tell them. A curious mind is going to make you a better basketball player. You discipline yourself to do things you're uncomfortable doing. This all helps you later. An educated man does not get robbed and will not be fooled. You educate yourself, you read, you do things. They can always come back and finish up. They have a lifetime scholarship here. So, this kid could go Jordan Spieth and play golf and be the #1 golfer, but Jordan Spieth should have went back to Texas for 4 years and played. He should not have come out after a year. He ruined college golf.
But not everyone's Jordan Spieth or Michael Jordan.
And not everybody's Anthony Davis. You want me to name them all? And Michael Kidd and Carl Towns. They're not all. I just happen to have a lot of them. So why would they come here if they're that good? Because they know I don't hold them back. This thing, you can't pigeonhole us into they don't care about academics. You can say it enough, like say it over and over and it becomes true. It's just not true.
Right.
You could say they're not involved in the community, they don't do this and this. Well, it's not true. You know, you could, wait a minute, you could say they don't connect with this university. Our players connect better than any other university's players that I know of, our players. So it's...
And any head coach is going to want to get the best possible players on their team too that meets, you know, standards and academics.
Would they want 7 or 8 of all really good players, or do you think they take 2 or 3 and then take some?
Right, they'd want 7 or 8 of the best players.
It's a difference in what we're doing.
How would you change the system though? Because even you don't like players being allowed to leave after just 1 year.
Well, here's what I would say: if it went to 2 years, okay. All their insurance, disability is paid for. If in the second year, their loss of value, in other words, they were a first rounder, they stayed in school, this has happened, and now they're a second rounder. And the coach that got them to stay and they drop in value will blame the kid every time. Well, that was him. No, he was where he was. If he left, that's where he'd have gone. So the NBA or someone should pay loss of value. They should get the cost of attendance. They should have 2 flights back and forth, one to come to school, one to go home, and then Christmas in between. Their families in the NCAA tournament should be able to go back and forth and maybe pay for a flight or 2 for their families to come to a game. If you're going to make them stay in school, then you got to do expense things, not pay. You don't want to pay them? That's fine. These are expenses. These do not make them professionals. They're still amateurs. But if you want them to stay in school longer, then you got to do things that alleviate. How about this? If you want them to stay in school the second year, the families can take a loan. Let them take a loan. Son will pay it back in the next year. You see a problem with that? It's a problem. Can't do that. Why not? They can take a loan from the NBA. What if the NBA says we don't want to loan them money? Just like a homeowner going and saying, I go to a bank and the bank says no. But if you can get the loan, why would you say no? It's a loan. So there are things that we can do and have them stay in school 2 years. If they're not willing to do all those things, you can't ask these kids to stay longer. And the Players Association won't go for it anyway.
What do you think ultimately happens? Stays the same?
Yeah.
Is that a shame in
Yes.
your mind?
I mean, this is, let's just look at it this way. For these young people, let's just worry about them and not make them a bargaining chip. Just them. And us coaches. See, we got coaches mad that these kids are leaving after a year, and I don't blame them. It makes our jobs harder. Makes our jobs harder, not what's right for them or that. So if we make all these decisions, what's best for these kids? If we truly think it's best for them to stay and they give up something, how do we make this so that it's obviously the best thing? If you're not ready, if you're ready, go. If you're ready, go. If you're not ready, here's what we do. We're doing a combine, and the NBA sat down with the Coaches Association, and I was a part of that group, and we sat down and said, you do a combine for all these kids. Invite them. If they're not invited, it means you're not good enough to even come to the combine. Go back to school. If you are invited, half of you are going to be told, go back to school. The other half are going to go. Now, all of a sudden, we're doing right by them and giving them the information to make the choices. Now, here's what will happen. Some kids will not be invited to the combine. You're not good enough. And they'll still put their name in the draft. That's their choice.
Right.
They have a right to make that choice and make it a dumb choice. It is a dumb choice, but it's their choice. What if they then make it work? See, I didn't think Jody Meeks should have left. I thought Patrick should have left, not Jody Meeks. Patrick comes to me and says, I want to stay. You want to stay, why? Because I'm going to graduate in 3 years. I've not been to the NCAA tournament, and you're going to help me play as a perimeter player. Go back and read all the stuff Patrick has said about his time here and what we've done to help him. He went from the 21st pick to the 14th pick. He did right. But you know who else did right? Jody Meeks. Jody Meeks went in the second round, which I told him would happen, but he's made it. He's going to continue to make it.
Right.
So as much as I thought he was wrong, he made a decision for himself, and it ends up being right.
For more clips from this interview, visit GrahamBensinger.com.